He did talk a little bit about some of the things that they're seeing from the depositions that they are now getting from the clients, or the plaintiffs rather.
I will tell you that these pleadings in each case are replete with misstatements. I mean, they're just fact, wrong. And then when we take the deposition of 21 of the 22 accusers, without exception, their depositions were inconsistent with their pleadings that were initially filed and that are on record that everybody got so understandably bent out of shape on. Remember this, if there had been a crime, do you really believe that a group of citizens would not be sympathetic to the women making them? You got to remember, by the time these things are decided, everybody knew Deshaun Watson is asking to leave the Texans and go somewhere else to play. He's not sitting there with a grand jury, whoever they were, that are just unduly impressed or favorable toward him. They'd be much more likely to be sympathetic to the women.
Now, G. Bush, that's a valid point. It is citizens in Texas, in Houston, Texas, where Deshaun Watson has said he wanted to leave.
Yeah. I mean, that's more the line of, and this just goes back to me. I don't, like I said, I'm waiting for the civil trials. They can come out with some stuff in the civil trial. I'm like, well, that looked pretty bad. But until then, I'm just going to wait for the civil trial and figure out and take it case by case. Now on the outside looking in, he should be having many more statements like this. This is a statement where people can hang their hat on. They can say, well, you're right. It had already came out that he wanted to leave the Houston Texans. So he's not public, he's not some sort of knight in shining armor already. People in that state are like, wow, you especially when you have the narrative of an athlete that wants to get out of town and go somewhere else when things get bad. So that's one strike against Deshaun Watson. So that wouldn't make sense for them to just let him off the hook. Two, it's the simple fact that he did mention that there are misstatements and there are conflicts and there's different conflicting answers that the people gave between their testimony and their depositions. So that's something people can understand, and that's one of the things that you can look at if you believe Deshaun Watson. That's something you can say, well, why are there so many discrepancies in their stories? 21 out of 22 women have discrepancies according to them. And then the last one is you have the legal system on your hand. This country is not very kind. African Americans aren't just getting off every single day in this country, right? Let's be clear about it. I mean, we're in the state of Texas, and they had not only one, but when the second grand jury came back, I said, usually when one of them, says, okay, no criminal, and they bring another one, I said, oh, this don't look good for you. They've re-upped on the second one. That means they feel like they got a good case. Maybe they buttoned some stuff up, got a new witness, or they got a new plaintiff that is totally credible. And then the second one says, nope, we don't have anything, and they keep it moving. That's something that you can say, wow. I mean, that's that's something to be said for the climate that we are in today. And so, if you keep to those facts and you stick to that, you have an opportunity to kind of bolster what you're saying. But like I said before, it don't matter what I think. It really don't even matter what you think, right? It's about the civil cases, right? They can come in and say, well, we feel like you owe these women this amount of money and he has to settle or he loses or whatever the case may be. That's on that. I thought Myles Garrett had a good answer.
Yep.
Hey, I can only go by what I know of him. I wasn't watching Deshaun Watson that much. I was watching Baker Mayfield. So we'll figure out what it is that he did next year. And I think and one of the things I do want to mention this too, and I said this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I said, if they have a situation where the league comes out and says, all right, 4 games, we're going to give you 4 games, 6 games, whatever case they give them, right? If they announce that before the season, the problem with that is for the plaintiffs is that's out of the public sphere now, because all the people that's watching it want to know, is he going to be suspended? After that, 90% of the people that are watching and tuning into this are not going to tune in if they say, oh, there's 24, 25, or 26, because to them, he already served his suspension. He's done. He'll get to play in the X amount of games. And now, because you are trying it in public, now you don't have that same leverage. Now no one's watching. So I think right now it'd be behoove them to get a settlement if they can, because the second he steps on the field, the clock starts ticking, because then he's the Cleveland Browns quarterback. And when he plays, you can see a wide shift of the sentiment behind him saying, oh, he threw 6 touchdown passes today. He already served a suspension. That's old news. So that's the only thing I think is kind of time sensitive for the plaintiffs. And I think that's what they're pushing for.